Hello there, you Awakening Wonders. Thanks for joining me today for Stay Free with Russell Brand. Wherever you are watching, join us over on Rumble if you can, where we can guarantee that I'll speak freely and anything crazy that I say is my fault, not of the result of crazy manipulation or AI or attempts by global media to absolutely control information. So much to talk about. There's been a tragic shooting and, I don't know, we'll talk about it, but then where are we going to go with that subject? Let me know in the comments and chat if you've got a vitriolic and certain opinion on how to handle these difficult matters. We'll be talking too about the escalation of tension between the left and right, even in this opportunity for healing that followed the media wake of the murder of Charlie Kirk, where I felt for a moment, and you lot in the chat couldn't have been more aggressively opposed to me, that this could be an opportunity for reconciliation. I even went so far as to suggest that Jimmy Kimmel's reconciliatory speech afterwards was sincere. But you lot in the Rumble chat, you were like, no! You've really strongly opposed me on that one. And maybe you guys were right, but we were talking about the left and the right and Gavin Newsom's appearance on a talk show, stuff like that. The elevation of hate, how it's become an international issue really now, with the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, calling Donald Trump a racist and a sexist. Gavin Newsom calling him a son of a bitch. And this is in this kind of post-Charlie Kirk murder moment where perhaps what we're looking to and looking for is a system of thought and behaviour and policy that might actually resolve these issues instead of the senseless, endless doubling down. Paul Schrober says here, reconciliatory? He didn't even say sorry. But what about the crying, though? What about the crying, Paul Schober? Patricia Beard-Lambert simply says, dress appropriately. What do you mean by that, though? Do you think I should wear, like, a suit? Like, what is it? Is that what you want? Because that's what happened. Take a good look at these, because it's the last you see of them. I promise you that, my friend. Let me know what you mean by appropriately. I look handsome, do you think, Laser Shot? I appreciate that. The subject we're going to start with, if you ask me, and I couldn't be more certain about this or more resolute, because this is the subject I've wanted to start with. Wait for it. Well, there's this. In my country, Jake, producer of the show, beloved friend, fellow Christian on the path. In the UK, the NHS, that's our National Health Service, say that first cousin marriage has benefits. This might be, I reckon, because a lot of Pakistani immigrants marry their first cousins. But I don't know if that's a racist trope or a true fact. I can't tell you anymore. First cousin marriage has benefits, says NHS guidance, despite birth defect risk. Tory MP says health service should stop taking the knee to damaging cultural practices. Thank you, Mug Club, for the stream. If you're here, we're talking right now about the health service in the UK and a recent announcement that first cousin marriage has benefits. Let me know in the comments and chat if you've ever had any relationships with your first cousin. You could be a Muslim migrant, or you could simply be Appalachian. I don't mind. It's not my business. I don't know what it says in the Bible about first cousin marriage. Do tell me what's in there and we'll work it out together. One thing I'll tell you that was very interesting to me is when I was traveling, I'm not naked. I've got stuff on. I can put that back on. It's nice. My in-laws bought me that for Christmas. What I'll tell you is when I was in Newark Airport yesterday, travelling back for some matters in New York City, which I still had a beautiful time in St. Patrick's Cathedral, walking the streets of New York City, many beautiful people, very much peace. The aftermath of that UN, I looked at that building, Donald Trump was right, he could have done a better job of that, I'm sure. It's interesting to be in New York City. When I was in the airport, Newark Airport, travelling back to the Panhandle, this beloved and blessed place, I noticed there's a meditation room in the airport. I thought that's interesting. We all know they're there. We've seen them, haven't we? All of us. But I thought I'll go in it. And I actually had a little pray up in there because, you know, it's like I'm in an airport. I'm travelling with my children. We're doing hand luggage only. 3 kids. We're pushing that hand luggage only to the very limit. We've got maybe 7, 8 bags. We're sort of strapped up. We look very much it gave me a new sympathy for the migrants of the world, because we had our world on our back, shall we say. And I went in and I was getting frustrated and stuff. And I went into that prayer room, and I thought, even though it's called a meditation room, functionally, I would have to tell you, it looks like it's set out for Islamic prayer, because there's a male room for washing, a female room for washing, that are very elaborate and have like sort of troughs in them, and sort of hoses to wash your feet, and various ablution systems. There is no marker or moniker of any faith at all, and the word that was used is meditation, but it's plainly a prayer space. And actually, this could be an incredible advance. If there were a place where all of the faiths of the world could come together in worship, wouldn't that be glorious? I'm a Christian myself, so my path is clear. But I would see in a secular and diverse and varied society the possibility for people to worship together and to recognise that even if you disagree about the nature of God, our agreement that there is a God is an opportunity for the kind of reconciliation that I think our culture requires right now. But what I'm interested in is that room was clearly actually a Muslim room, because functionally, it's got that male bathroom. It's not got a bathroom in there. There's no toilet. There's just a place to wash for men, a place to wash for women, and then some neutral spaces. The only rules are you can't use your phone, and you've got to be respectful in there and things like that. There was no one in there. I don't know who's using it. But what really struck me as interesting is, when I'm talking to people that are avowedly right-wing, say, or at least described as right-wing, Tommy Robinson, say, and I often find myself saying, the problem with condemning Muslim migrants in the UK, or migrants anywhere, is that migrants by definition don't have power. They're upon the lowest tier. I'm not saying whether or not you should have migration. If a population doesn't want migration, that's the end of it. People in Japan don't really like it. People in this country at the moment, they feel like they don't want no more migration. People in the UK at the moment don't want more migration. That's up to them. In a democracy, you would agree with that. Everyone would agree with that. That's what the word democracy means. But what's interesting to me is, I don't feel like Muslims have much power in the UK or the US. Do you? Let me know in the comments and chat. And yet in the airport, they have a bespoke prayer space. It's not explicitly Muslim, but functionally I would say it is, because of the ablution rooms. Can you honestly tell me, it's a sincere question, I'm not messing around, why do you think that's there? Because if it was a space that was geared towards Jewish worship, say, and I don't know enough about synagogues and stuff, our tech director here, Isaac's Jewish, or if it was geared towards Christianity, I'd be like, oh, well, that makes sense, because there's definitely a kind of an assertive Christian power in the US. There's assertive Jewish power. Certainly many people strongly believe that in the US. But it's primarily a Muslim space. Let me know what you think, because I don't understand it. Also, let me know what you think about cousins getting married. Or does it say, married, it says there. It doesn't just say sex. If you're gonna have sex with your cousin, I'd say marry them out of respect.
Yeah,
otherwise,
get married first.
Huh?
I mean, at least get married first.
Get married first, don't ruin Christmas. Those are the only bits of advice I would offer you. The Europeans triumphed in the Ryder Cup. My father-in-law, Bernard Gallagher, was there, 8 times participant in the Ryder Cup, 3 times captain in the Ryder Cup. Congratulations to Europe for your victory. I understand that Rory McIlroy, playing for Europe, got a drink tossed at him, and that Trump attended. Let's have a look at the Europe team trolling Trump. That's what this asset is described as.
Are you watching? Are you watching? Are you watching God? Are you watching Donald Trump? Are you watching Donald Trump?
Congratulations on winning. I pretty was watching. He loves golf, doesn't he? He lives for that stuff.
The UK is good at chance.
Yeah, we are good at chance.
Yeah, I feel like that needs to be more of an emphasis moving forward.
Do you know that we're good at chance? Have your sports teams even got chance? Have they LSU and the baseball that you love?
Yeah, we got some stuff. Some of it's inappropriate, but we say some good things at LSU.
What?
Can't say it.
Someone told me that an eagle flies over Auburn or something.
Oh, yeah. They train it.
That's good. An eagle.
It's pretty cool.
I'd love that. But what about West Ham? I'm for blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. We've got a brilliant song. And Liverpool's song, You'll Never Walk Alone, You'll Never Walk Alone. I mean, both of them are not original IP. I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles was in a movie, I think in the 20s or 30s. And Never Walk Alone's a song by a Liverpool-based group called Jerry and the Pacemakers. Let's go Biden, Rory the accuser says. Yeah. Well, what do you say at LSU? Why can't you can't say it's too private?
I got a few things that come up that, say potty words that get banned from football games.
Oh.
But it's
that's
fun.
no good.
It's the best crowd. You got to go to a game.
I will go. I want to go. I want to celebrate American sport. I want to get to know your beautiful country. I want to move right amongst you. I want to get right amidst it. I want to bring the holy word of our Heavenly Father nice. Heavenly Father, Jesus Christ. I want to be right amongst you. He responded, did your President Trump? Let's see what he said. Yeah, I'm watching. Congratulations. Yeah, that's good. See? Light-hearted. Not everything that's got to be hatred the whole time. God knows we'll be getting into that a little later. Some people are saying, Russell, you're naive. Muslims do have power. Let me get back to that. You call it baseless. You've not read the Quran. That's not talking to me. That's their arguing with each other. And then Muslims are sick. They're from Satan. They beat that eagle into submission. Stop saying. Everyone's insane in this Rumble chat. If you're watching this anywhere other than Rumble, get into the Rumble chat. You'll like it. It's intense in there. It's intense. Or you could go in the locals chat. That's a bit more gentle. In the locals chat, you get Purple Flower, Erin Bunny. I would say it's this. Locals, Maha. Rumble chat, beyond MAGA. They would look at MAGA as you filthy liberals.
Where else can you see on a chat, it's the Jews' fault.
Yeah.
Show us your nipples.
Yep.
Brian Kelly sucks. That's the LSU coach.
Yep. Go Gators.
Go Gators. All in one chat.
Yep, that's all good. Men have the rights to instantly divorce their wives. It's all good. These are all actual quotes.
I saw a guy that said, my first cousin was very attractive. That's as far as it went.
I'm acknowledging it. What? It's just like appreciating a painting. It's just like appreciating a beautiful painting. It's just like rubbing your dicky bird out on a beautiful painting. It's just like ruining a beautiful painting with ejaculate. Russell, are you actually having a fuck off with me right now? Says Tack Driver 65. The Muslims don't have power as immigrants. Are you shitting on our actual minds here? You're wonderfully insightful, but sometimes then he just stops typing. That's the end of it. Yeah, but look, I'm not saying you don't have influence or impact if you're a migrant, in Paris when there's them riots from migrant communities or whatever. But what I'm saying is the world is not being run by a powerful cartel of migrants, is it? It's not like you're not going to go in some shady room and they're in robes, oh, yeah, and inside the robes they're selling them watches, on holiday and that. Here's a minute, sort of worshipping Baal or some owl god. Migrants aren't powerful. They're living in desperation and destitution. I'm not saying you don't, I've caveated this heavily. If you are a person that believes in democracy and the nation in general is anti-migration, then you should have a referendum on it, and the results of that referendum should carry and not be subsequently manipulated like European elections, for example, Romania, or attempted to reverse like Brexit, or the legitimacy of them denied like with the Trump elections. You just have to yield to actual democracy at some point. And then it doesn't really matter what people believe. If you think the majority should rule, which is, I guess, the principle of democracy, then you don't need to worry about all of this stuff. But in a minute, we're going to be getting right into the escalating hatred that is defining our times. Let's have a look at Colbert and his audience losing it over Trump's Biden auto pen move. Oh yeah, that auto pen where Biden was signing stuff automatically. I'd like to see this.
Trump always has an ulterior motive, and it's always being a jerk. Because take a look at the video the White House released. There's Obama, and there's Trump, and oh, hardy har har, it's Biden as an auto pen. And I know, that's so childish.
That's actually good. That's a better joke than he's doing. I remember myself recognizing that there was some transitional moment where the left stopped being the funny side. The left, Bill Hicks, right? Listen to Bill Hicks, one of your best ever comedians by my reckoning. He used to sort of say, oh no, he started with the joke about marijuana being made illegal is like saying God made a mistake. You say that God is holy, but then you sort of make one of his creations illegal. That's sort of like the basic premise of the joke. Oh my me, I left pot everywhere. And then he said, oh no, now I'll have to create Republicans. And so a really cool comedian defaulted to the left. Then say George Carlin. While George Carlin would condemn the Uni Party, if he had to vote, and I reckon he voted, I don't know, let me know in the comments and chat, he voted Democrat, right? And then Chappelle, best living comedian, I would say, would you agree? You pretty plainly he would vote Democrat, although he does take both political parties to task and has been very outspoken on the trans issue. And in a way, he sort of followed a line, didn't he? Like that, and he's been proven to have been correct with his fortitude, like of being willing to talk about and joke about subjects and not being cowed. But now, see that on Colbert, they've shown someone else's joke, and the joke's actually pretty good. So I don't know where he went after that, but I don't reckon it was an upgrade on that, because you can't be funny if you're all pious. That's the problem. There's too much piety, there's too much earnestness, too much sincerity. Comedy requires a kind of punkish disregard for morality, I would argue. Let me know what you think about that, though, in the comments and the chat. Hey, listen, did you see Trump's had another one of those moments in a meeting where he's been outrageously honest? I think this time with the leader of Turkey, Erdogan, when he says, I think he's just saying about rigged elections, and it's just one of those moments where you go, oh my God, I can't believe he's saying stuff like that. Let's have a look.
Of Turkey.
Unfairly, as it turns out. Rigged election, he knows about rigged elections better than anybody. But when I was in exile, we were still friends.
So he's just saying like that Erdogan rigs elections. He just does that as a joke. Did you see that film? Let me know if you've watched that movie, The Apprentice, about Trump. It charts the era where Trump moves from an underling at his father's real estate company to the hotelier and real estate art of the deal cultural icon that he became prior to getting involved in politics. It's obviously a film made by people that do not like Donald Trump, and at some points alarmingly appears to suggest that he raped his wife. Like sort of, I can't see how they got through the sort of libelous tangle of something like that. Nevertheless, it's a really interesting picture into New York at that time, contains excellent performances from whoever it is that's playing Trump, and Jeremy Strong as his mentor, Ray Cohen, who the film at least credits with being the person that makes Trump Trump. And it's built somewhat around this idea that Trump has these three rules. 1, attack, attack, attack. 2, never apologize. 3, always claim victory. And that like Ray Cohen as his mentor gives him these ideas. Anyway, I really enjoyed watching it because, it's only the kind of movie I would watch on a plane. I enjoyed watching it because living in the space that I live in, I primarily consume somewhat pro-Trump content, although I'm very aware of the legacy media condemnatory content that's also available. It was interesting to see him depicted really as a product of his time, and that view at least I share. And as a Christian, I don't have the kind of devotional fealty to Trump that a lot of people have, because I see him as a extremely powerful leader. That's undeniable. He's the president of the United States and an excellent communicator and operator, but operate within the limits of politics and economics. And whilst the latitude of those limits is pretty vast. This is a person who can declare wars and end wars and move billions, trillions of dollars around. Still limited really when it comes to the supreme power of God and Jesus Christ. And even if you were like a conspiracy theorist, you'd say, I reckon, well, even Donald Trump is still controlled by the same sets of interests that controlled Joe Biden. There's been enough change, I would say, to suggest that's not entirely true, but also there have been areas where there's not been change one might have anticipated that leads me to suggest that there are permanent powers transcendent of political power. That's a belief I've had for a pretty long time, and I don't see that going anywhere. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat about that. If you're watching us on YouTube, we'll be with you for 5 more minutes, but we're ultimately going to ask you to get off YouTube because it's a sort of a pretty restrictive space. They won't give us any money, and we're simply sick and tired of it. I'm afraid there's been a terrible, terrible shooting. I guess we'll cover that after this brief message from one of our partners. Don't go away. Cryptocurrency is here to stay. We're going to have to educate ourselves and fast, particularly with this new and extraordinary deal that's going to impact everything and therefore everyone in the cryptocurrency world. I couldn't believe it when I first saw it. Listen to this. Trump Media just inked a massive $6.4 billion deal with Yorkville Acquisition Corp. And Crypto.com, the crypto platform trusted by millions of users worldwide. They have conglomerated in order to scoop scoop up $6.4 billion in CRO, the powerhouse token that fuels fast, low-fee DeFi staking rewards and real-world perks like cashbacks on your spend, to establish America's first CRO, Treasury Trump Media Group CRO strategy. When it's done, this new company will be the biggest publicly traded CRO holder out there. Do you want to get in on the action? Head to crypto.com today and let's make crypto great again. For more information on the proposed business combination, check out Yorkville Acquisition Corp's public filings. Go to the link in the description and look up crypto.com to learn more. Let's touch on this terrible shooting that's taken place in Michigan. Here's some legacy media reporting.
Topping national news, the FBI is investigating a targeted act of violence at a church in Michigan. There, a man opened fire before setting the building on fire as well. In all, 5 people were killed, including the gunman, while 8 others were injured. Roop Raj, the evening anchor at our Fox affiliate in Detroit, has been reporting from the scene all day and is joining us live tonight. And Roop, this has been a tragic day for your...
Why do you think they say stuff like reporting from the scene all day? Why do they bother to say things like that, do you think? Like, we're really putting out a lot of effort into it. Like, it's so secondary to the events themselves. So just let me know why they say that, why you think they say that. It's not for no reason, it's for a reason.
This has been a tragic day for your state.
It certainly has. We're coming to you from about an hour away from Detroit and about 20 minutes away from Flint. So we're just kind of in between the two cities, if you will. And in this small town of Grand Blanc, Michigan, about 400 yards away, there's a church that, of course, you've been showing pictures of all day long, and the whole country, the whole world has been watching. Inside of this Church of Latter-day Saints, there were parishioners who were there starting the morning off, presumably about 12 hours ago, expecting a nice day of calm prayer, when suddenly they heard a big bang. And it was that bang that was actually the pickup truck that slammed into the front of this church. And when that happened, apparently people thought, okay, maybe someone had a medical emergency. Some people started running outside the church to see what had happened. And when they ran out, this man, Thomas Sanford, investigators say, came out and just started spraying bullets in the parking lot. He was killed there in the parking lot, but not before shooting 10 people inside the church, or right outside the church in the parking lot as well, and also setting fire to the entire church. And when he did that, there were so many people who, of course, were trying to get out. They were actually covering children and older people with their bodies, trying to take care of those who are more vulnerable around them. And as they did that, the fire then started, and it's unclear if there were explosives that were inside as well that may have caused the entire thing to then go up. Now, I can tell you right now that some of the people we spoke with, they say that the ones inside that building are, simply put, heroes.
My God. Okay, well, here's Trump on it. I've been briefed on the horrendous shooting that took place at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, Michigan. The FBI was immediately on the scene and will be leading the federal investigation and providing full support to state and local officials. The suspect is dead, but there's still a lot to learn. This appears to be yet another targeted attack on Christians in the United States of America. The Trump administration will keep the public posted, as we always do. In the meantime, pray for the victims and their families. This epidemic of violence in our country must end immediately. Now, I wonder if we will see any cessation in the violence, or even the invective and rhetoric that likely fuels it. It doesn't seem that there's any abating in the ongoing incendiary conversation between the left and right. Let's see what's going on in the Rumble chat right now. You know, there'll be some anger and some rage. I suppose, you know, like in Philippines, Paul says, I don't even know whether to be alive or not, really. I love God so much. I love Jesus so much. I just want to be with Jesus. But I suppose I could stay here just to continue to counsel my disciples, or, you know, Christ's disciples, but those whose tutelage I am responsible for. A lot of Christian mystics and teachers that I read appear to operate from the precipice of a willingness to die. A willingness to die. Do you know many drug addicts? You see how they kind of live on the edge of death, like they live on the edge of their own destruction or near constant incremental suicide. I wonder what that man was thinking and feeling when he drove a truck into a church and, you know, presumably was pretty well prepared with whatever devices were required to get the church ablaze. And what was his mind like? What was his spirit like? Do you believe in evil? Do you believe in demons? Do you believe in dark powers? I wonder. I feel that it's pretty clear now that we can't just keep passing between two tribal identities, neither of which are consolidated around any real cohesive ideas. Nationalism, progressivism, none of them can really withstand serious scrutiny. And by serious scrutiny, what I actually mean is the scrutiny that I could apply, like I could break down those ideas. So then they're not that robust. Nationalism, progressivism, these ideas, they don't withstand serious scrutiny. What is a nation? It's a concept, it's a faith-based system, it's a landmass, it's an ideology. At best, it's a constitution and a flag. Group of people come together with a set of ideals that has ultimately become co-opted and corrupted and is controlled now by centralized powers, likely not the powers that we even think we're interfacing with. What's progressivism? The idea that progress and advance through science, notably and observably in technology and medicine, represent this summit of human power. Neither of them properly posit God at the top of all power, and therefore both of them are ultimately wrong and ultimately will therefore lead to further conflict, further suffering, further pain. Got to get through it. I'm too sensitive for this world, says someone in the locals chat. Yeah, you are too sensitive for this world. You're not at home here. You're in exile here. You will be able to go home. Imagine if you could get to the point where you could love your children or love the people in your life that you love the most and accept that it's temporary and that the love you feel for them is the love of God, and to have enough faith that when you die, that something is waiting for you, that love will be more fulfilled in death than in life. It's an important faith. And if you have that, then you'll be willing to die. There's a weird inversion of it, a weird shadow of it when people warp that into violence and destruction. It's an odd warping of a high principle that leads to these senseless massacres. That's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments and the chat. Let's get a little deeper into the culture war. If you're watching us on YouTube, click the link in the description. We're leaving you now, but we're leaving you with great love in our heart. Remember, we make Russell Brand Unpacked over there, pre-taped content where we analyze news stories and put it out first on Rumble because they're our partners, but then in many other places as well. So keep watching out for those. We're going to talk about left versus right now, because Kamala Harris has announced we must fight fire with fire. That is not an attitude that will get you into even the lowest standard fire service imaginable. You must fight fire with water, unless it's a fat fire, then you've got to use that smoke one, or you use a damp towel.